Luna, we're gonna take a look at Tron today. Are you ready to do a T8 on TRX? Oh, oh! Give me a better one than that. I know you love to howl for the viewers, Luna. You just woke up. Come on, give me a howl. 3, 2, 1. Oh, oh! That, you just can't copy me. The viewers don't like it whenever you just copy me, okay? You gotta give me a long one. Everybody likes the long ones. 3, 2, 1. Oh, oh! You, guys, she's copying me again. Let's try it one more time. 3, 2, 1. Oh, oh! Okay, guys, she did a pretty good one there. This is the last one that we're gonna try. Oh, oh! I think that's all we're gonna get from her this morning, guys. Okay, let's take a look at Tron, guys. So where did we leave off last time? Let's take a look at where we left off. Alright, so Tron, last time we left off at... Where is TRX here? Right here, okay? I expected that it's a possible flag consolidation attempted in X. That's what I wrote on there. And I wrote there's a chance to gain up to 40 to 50% with a target one of about 925 Satoshi and an entry range anywhere between 500 to 700, right? These entry ranges don't mean to buy right there. And once again, I'm no financial advisor, guys, but I want you to know that these entry ranges mean a support level, okay? These support levels. And last time we looked at it, it was actually about 0.723, right? Or not 0.723, 723 Satoshi. 720, I'll know what it means. Actually, I should probably write it in. And by the way, if you guys enjoy these videos that I'm making, I would appreciate an upvote on Steemit. Make sure you guys create an account on Steemit there, and blog yourselves as well, right? Introduce yourself to the community. It's kind of like Reddit. I love the Steemit community. I think it's going to be a pretty big coin, and even if it's not a big coin, it's a fun coin, right? It's a community that's much more positive than Reddit, not nearly as harsh, and you actually get paid to post content on there. We're not talking about a lot. Like, you guys have seen my Steemit account. It's worth like $200 or something at most, so it's mainly just for fun that I'm doing this. And please like, subscribe, and share as well on Twitter and on YouTube. And if you guys especially love the videos and you have made a killer profit on it, maybe you guys can buy me and Luna a beer or something and just donate to the cryptocurrency piggy bank that will eventually be given back, honestly, to the community anyways in one way or another. So Tron, where are we at right now, guys? Right? Where are we at right now? This was a channel resistance with a possible sell target right now, okay? So we've clearly broken out of this area, right? And right now we're in this zone right here. And in this zone in particular, it's falling, if I isolate it as best as I can, it actually fell down to some pretty extreme lows in the past few hours. It fell down to as low as even 382 Satoshi, right? I should have anticipated. Well, I think I did. I can't remember if I did, but I more so took the higher end of that spectrum. So now we're in the lower end of this support zone right now, right? Not only are we in the lower end of the support zone, but if we go to like a body to body or extreme, we're taking the support zone of right here. And this is where we left off last time, by the way. I haven't really touched it at all. So notice we're bouncing these areas, bouncing here, bouncing there. And not only do we bounce a lot here, but we bounce with conviction here, right? So we bounce all the way from 386 all the way to 55 so far. And what we're doing is we're actually testing this EMA right here. We're testing the 100 moving average. We're already below the 55 EMA, or we're already above the 55 EMA. That's why we're seeing a lot of people, people who play the 55 EMA, right? Some people play the 100, some people play the 50. It just depends on what kind of trader you are. And we do notice an ABC correction happening here already. That's fairly nice. So if we get our drawing tools out right here, and we just use Fibonacci extension, let's see how far this guy down retraced already. We take the absolute highest point over there, around 2K Satoshi. We go to B, and we see that it's retraced about 100, not 100, about the 618, but that's pretty extreme taking that wick, isn't it? No, either way, we can't really get a good extension on that, but either way, I do see this as A, B, C, like we counted last time. C could be right there, right? But if we make note of this specific area right here, it does reach this first green buy zone, right? It does reach this green buy zone. Right here, because this is where the buy zone is. And usually for a flag consolidation pattern, this is how people like to see it, right? Usually you get a big uptrend like that, and then later you get a flag consolidation kind of like this, right? We can see clearly right now that this is not making any type of triangle right now, okay? It's not making any type of triangle that we see. Nothing yet. Like if a triangle were to have been made, it would have been made maybe around these points right here, right? And then it was possibly going to break up or down, but this was most likely down because you get a descending triangle. Oh, sorry, I have to sneeze. Give me a second. Whoo! I just sneezed like 4 times in a row. You guys ever sneeze that many times in a row? They say that if you sneeze 10 times in a row, it's the equivalent to having an orgasm. The most I've ever sneezed, I think, was probably 5 or 6 times. And that felt really, really good. I remember times when I was younger that, like, you know, I used to have long hair, like ponytail kind of hair, right? Now it's just short. And when I used to get like super drunk with my friends and stuff, right, they would like take my hair and they would like, you know, make themselves sneeze by putting it in their nose. And it's like, oh, that was like, this is Tomo when I was like 18 and stuff. We would do wild things like that when we were 18 because we heard of this, you know, fact that if you sneeze 10 times, it sounds like it feels like an orgasm, right? So people would be taking my hair and like sticking it in their nose and they're like, okay, we're gonna try and sneeze as many times as we can. Yeah, and then the next day you wake up like, what just happened? Did that just happen? So let's get back to this, guys. That's insane that Tron did like, you know, from December it did like that much. It's insane. So if you had put in only like $1, you would have made like over $1,000 doing that, because it went up from, you know, from these ranges of like 16, 17 Satoshi to like literally just fractions of it, going up to like 2,000 Satoshi there. It's quite a bit. It's like 1,000% gain, more than that. So right now, we reach this buy zone in here, right? And we see these solid support line that's forming. And if we just take a general area of right here, we can just assume that there could be a target hit somewhere still up here. The target seems to be much lower now, though. Right? It seems to be much lower. In fact, we might even call it like a wedge or something like here. So if I were to go in closer to a different time frame, right? We can even see that it's like wedging. We always try to draw it to the 55 EMA as best as we can. So that's one possible scenario, right? If we take a higher end, like the wick to wick, we can get a possible target somewhere up there as well still. Now we want to see what kind of retracement minimum, right? If we get an uptrend, we're going to know it's an uptrend because it's going to break on a high time frame above the 55 EMA and the volume will start to pick up heavily. Here we see this volume pick up right there, pick up right here, right? But it's now slowly waning off. So I think that using Elliott wave is not the best way to analyze this right now, other than just simple ABC. The best way to analyze this right now would be to take a look at indicators, right? What we see is the indicator on the daily, first of all. We're going to start with there. We see that it's actually leveling off, okay? Slowly, it looks like it wants to round off and level off here. And if we look on the daily, there's still like 12 hours to go on here. But right now, as it stands, we do have a nice green candle with lots of volume. That's like a doji, right? So it looks like it might even want to do like an S shape. Like it just kind of curves like that around, right? I can't draw it well here because it's on the 1 hour and it's like in the magnet mode. So if we look on here, we get kind of a, on the 4 hour, we get a hammer. It's red, which is more bearish than bullish, but nevertheless, it is still a hammer. And here we get near the bottom as well, which is like a doji, right? So we're getting like a consecutive amount of candles right now that are green. This one's kind of forming a shooting star. But what we do see, like even on a 3 hour one, right, it's upticking heavily right now. The histogram itself is right there. And so the question is, do we find support? We gotta look on the 5-minute chart and see if it's breaking to high highs, like in the 80s, 90s. And indeed it is breaking up. You know, here's it peaked up to 75-ish. Here in the 5 minutes to the 80s after it reached the very, very bottom there. On the 15-minute chart, are we reaching a bullish zone? Yeah, we are, guys. We're reaching a bullish zone, right? It's hovering off and leveling off right here. Okay, A bullish zone, remember this guys, a bullish zone for RSI is considered 40 to the well high 70s, right, or 80s, and a neutral zone is between about 35 and 65-ish, and a bearish zone would be, it doesn't even get above 60, right, and it's going well, like it's maybe 55, 60, and it doesn't, and it goes well below like the 20s and 30s even. So if you look at the bearish zones, here's 60 about, right? Here's 60, this is my rule, all the way to down there. That's the bearish zone right there, right? And here, we're still in the neutral zone, which is about 35 to 65 that I call it. So here, we enter a neutral zone, and we don't know if a breakout is going to happen. Everybody's on the fence about that. But now, all of a sudden, we left this neutral zone, and we entered into a bullish zone, right? We entered into a bullish zone. I don't know how long it's going to last for, right? But what we do see is we see a lot of resistances. We see lots of resistances forming. I mean, this one, if we take it from the tip up there, I'm going to delete this. If we take it from tip to tip, wick to wick, right now what we see is it forming kind of something like that, right? In fact, we're meeting resistance right here. But nevertheless, the important thing to remember from this technical analysis is that this is a buy zone right there, and this is a buy zone in here as well, because we're meeting the support. We're meeting the support. So guys, I'm gonna do a simple risk analysis for you, okay? So let's say like this is kind of crappy, the risk scenario, but there's always a chance of it breaking out, right? One, two, like there's always a chance of it breaking out of this pattern right here, whether it ends up forming like a channel like that, or whether we call this a pattern the way it is right now. There is a chance of it breaking outwards, right? To form either a flag, or even breaking out to higher highs, right? It's always a possibility as well. So, you know, we lost a good chance to get a decent risk to reward. So the best thing that we can do right now for Tron is maybe just target the 55 EMA. If you guys were wanting to go in the play, like I'm no financial advisor, I'm always speaking from the perspective of what I would do, right? So if assuming that support is found there, support is found right there, like I would just keep an eye, guys. Like, you know, this is not a good play. Like, there's no good plays right now. Like, taking a small risk there to gain 15% with the stop loss below the channel there, you're like in a negative risk to reward right now. So the chance to buy obviously was, I recommended between 500 and 700 Satoshis, right? And, you know, that's up to you guys to watch out. But I did mine a few days ago. And of course, it bounced like right around the 479, 486 Satoshi level. And we actually got up all the way to 718. So some people who got in the lower end made profit, right? And I was targeting the higher end, like 925s. So right now, we're just consolidating. It's consolidating nicely too, I have to admit. It's one of those charts where it's not doing something crazy like Ripple, right? Yeah, we're downtrending like this, but it took days to do it. And there's not just one red gigantic bar right now. But what does worry me is the retracement. Check out the retracement right here, okay? The retracement is now the 786 level, right? The 786 level there, it's worrisome. It's worrisome right now because we want this pattern to break out of it and do some sort of pattern like that. That will give us a definitive pattern. Right now, nothing is clearly defined because, you know, a breakout only happened in December. There's not that much data yet, okay? There's really not that much data yet at all. So assuming that like let's just say as well, let's just say that this was wave 1, okay? That this was wave 1 right here. This is wave 2, that's 3, and that's 4, right? And there's still a 5th one to go. Well, this would actually make sense as well because this is a buy zone that we've talked about before, where it's reaching. Like this is a small buy zone in here, right? And obviously this one will be an even greater support because in non-leveraged markets, wave 4 cannot retrace the territory of wave 1, but I use exception on a daily chart or even maybe a little lower time frame of just a wick, right? So if that was wave 1, then we are literally at the bottom because we're bouncing on the daily chart of the 55 EMA, right? So that could be one logic as well. So right now, as it stands, like the best possible play that I can think of that I would be willing to take is this right here, okay? I would enter a position right here, pretty much where we are, and maybe add a little more if it gets a little bit lower to the 4-9 ranges, okay? So I'm going to pull up an Excel sheet here. I'll pull up my Excel sheet. Let's say you bought 10,000, right? I don't know how much is that? 0.511 Satoshis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just Googling it really quickly. It's like 5 cents, okay? So we're buying it at 5 cents. It's 500 bucks. Obviously, I want to buy more than that. So yeah, okay. We'll buy 50,000 at we'll buy 50,000 at 510, just as an example, okay? I mean, how much is a Bitcoin right now, guys? 10,000, we'll see. So we're gonna spend 2,500. And here, we're gonna buy another 50,000 if it goes down to 0.00004 5. I'll change this so you guys can see the decimal. I'm missing a 0. That's why. Okay, there we go. So now, what is happening? 4,800 divided by 10,000. Okay, there we go. That makes sense now. So if you bought, for example, right now, I'm no financial advisor, keep in mind, I'm just everything is all hypothetical. If you bought, for example, now at 510 Satoshi, right, you'd be spending about $2,500 worth. But now let's say it fell down a little bit more and you bought this same amount, right? You bought the same amount, but it was a little bit cheaper at about 4,500 Satoshi there. You've now spent about 5,000 total. That's your position size. And you have 10,000. That's the coin. Okay? So this is just a hypothetical scenario. So now you averaged out your price because you bought some at 510 and bought some at 450. So you average out the price. So now your risk to reward is actually going to be decent. And the reason why you think of it from this perspective is because this is about where the 55 EMA is, right? We want it to bounce off of there. And now we just assume a channel support like that off of the most relevant thing that we see. And we assume that it's going to bounce off of this region as well. So now we take our average price, we'll say right here. We'll take our average price of 4.8, right? Depending on the circumstance, whatever happens. And then we just target somewhere up here. We target somewhere up there and we set our stop loss. It's a pretty big amount though, okay? Just because you have a good risk to reward ratio, it doesn't always mean, guys, that it's a good play. Because this one you have a chance to win 70%, but you also have a chance to lose 25%, right? But what I would do is I would put my stop loss at 4.4, or sorry, at 440 Satoshi. That's what I would do, or even lower than the other one by a little bit, like say right on the nose. The low here was 380, that was rejected heavily. Let's say you put it at 370, okay? Let's say you put it at 370 right here. 370. Whoops. Where is 7? So weird. I'm trying to find it. 370. And then you target the same kind of slope possibly as this one. Maybe that's a little bit extreme. That's definitely too extreme in my opinion. I'd probably end up just targeting where a Fibonacci number is reasonably, okay, that's good. Probably right here, this Fibonacci level is 785 Satoshi. 785. And then now we got a risk to reward of about 2.75. And you have a stop loss at 370, which is below the lowest low that we've seen recently, right? And then you also target the 2-3 Fibonacci one first, right? Because it's got to form something like that. So my thoughts is that it's reaching a critical buy zone right now. Okay, it's reaching a critical buy zone. The 4-hour is actually flattening out right now, and we're actually upticking positively, right? It's possible that it might go a little bit lower, but you know, like 4.5, 4.8 is kind of the lowest that I want to buy, maybe 4.4, right? Like let's say it went down to 4.5 and we bought a little bit more, right? Let's say we went down to here and here. It went down. Oh, actually we did buy some at 4.5. Let's say we bought some at 4.8 as well, right? Let's say we bought some at 4.8 as well. Well, yeah, our average price is still above 4.8 there. Well, obviously if you buy 4.8, it's in the middle, so it's not going to change the average price of it. So yeah, this is a decent play, 60% potential here for a gain. We do see some really good support candles that are forming, right? And yeah, and it's in such oversold zones already. So I am seeing positive signs of bullishness right here, or if not bullishness, then at least support, right? So is it unreasonable to risk you know, per share per Tron, you're risking 22% of it, right? Is that a realistic for you guys? That's a pretty big risk in my opinion, right? But without risk, there's no possibility of reward. You guys just got to remember that position sizing is really important, and you have to remember that that's a big amount, guys, like 23%, right? Like myself personally, I'm okay with a situation like this. That's fine with a risk to reward ratio of 2.75. I've just got to make a few types of these plays with this type of possibilities for gaining, right? As long as I manage my risk there and I allocate it to different percentage gains, risk to reward setups. So maybe like, for example, if 2.75 with the 60% was reasonable and I failed at this one, right? I'd have to make at least a few more or hunt for those kind of setups to eventually break even from it. Because a 2.75 risk to reward setup, like I'll show you guys what this setup basically means, okay? That and why it's profitable over time. So just as an example, sorry, I'm trying to pull something up here that I can't seem to be pulling up here. So we're going to use a risk to reward scenario of 2.75. R 2.75, okay? So let's say you went to the, let's say you're rolling a dice, right? Heads or tails, okay? Heads or tails, rolling a dice 10 times. Or not roll a dice, flip a coin. Flip a coin 10 times scenario. All right? And now each time you win, is equal to say $275, but each time you lose is equal to actually we'll use this exact scenario with $1,000, okay? With an exact scenario. So we have a chance to win 63% and lose 23%. So if we use $630 and then we lose $230, right? You have $1,000 position size. You have a $1,000 position size. Each time you win, you can win 630, which is 663%. Each time you can lose 23%, which is $230, right? And let's say you have a 50% chance to win and a 50% chance to lose, right? Each time you flip the coin for heads or tails. So if you play 10 games at you know, at that right there, so 10 games is equal to 5 wins. Like let's say you were even, yeah, let's say you were even bad. Let's say you were bad and you lost 60% of the time. So 4 wins at $630 each. That's equal to 2,400 plus 120, 2520, right? And then now you have 6 losses at 230 each. That's equal to 1,200 plus 180, 1,380. Don't ask me how I do it, guys. That is called Asian level mathematics, okay? I don't understand. You guys can't understand how this happens unless you're Asian. This is just something that's in our genes, okay, guys? Just like how I was talking earlier to how Asians are not really susceptible to carpal tunnel because we're bred to like study, use pen, you know, write a lot, and be in esports, you know, like yeah, they're esports, so they're designed to, we are made to play video games all day, and you know, we don't need ergonomic mice or keyboards because like our wrist never hurts. So like those are some Asian traits, just to be really clear, right? And simple basic mathematics, that's also like that's also something that's pretty easy to us as well. Okay, guys, I just want to let you guys know. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our profit minus our losses. Minus our losses equals net profit, right? So we take 2,520 minus 1,380, and that equals to 1,140, right? So now our net profit, even though we won only 4 games, but because each win, okay guys, was at $630 each with a risk to reward ratio of 2.75, right? So basically you could win 2.75 times more than you lose. That's how we're getting this risk to reward ratio right there. So the risk to reward ratio is calculated by taking your target price minus your entry price. And here our entry price was 4.8, right? 4.8 right here, as you guys see. And divided by your entry price minus your stop loss. So do you guys get that? That's how it is. I'm going to write it down really quickly just for those that are curious. RR is equal to your your target price minus your entry price, all divided by your target price, or sorry, your entry price minus your stop loss, right? So this is how we get a ratio of 2.75. So we're targeting this area. This is our entry. This is our stop loss. This is our entry. So these are how we're getting 2.75 risk to reward ratios right now. So now just using a basic flip a coin scenario, if we actually did this, how many times? If we did this 10 times in a row, this exact setup with the same probability to chance to win, say 50-50, but of course we're leaning one way more than the other, so a 50-50 chance is more likely. But even if you won 30% of the time, right? Let's say you won 30% of the time. Let's say you won 30% of the time, and I know I said that 3 times there, okay? At three wins each right there, that's $1,890, $890, and that's now 7 right here. That's now 7 losses out 2,230 each, so it's 1,400 plus 210, so 1,610, right? So now your net profit is equal to 1890 minus your 1610, that equals to $380 of profit, right? So sorry, not 380, that's 280. I'm sure there's a lot of mental math wrong here. So whoops, 1890, that's $280 of profit. So with a risk to reward ratio of 2.75, if you flip the coin 10 times, you would still be able to come out ahead, even if you lost 30% of the time, okay? Even if you lost 30%, I know that's not possible, guys. It's because of course flip a coin, right? It'd be closer to 50-50, but if you did like 1,000, it might be closer to 50-50. But of course there's a chance, right? There's 1 over that, like we can use probability easily to figure out what is the chance of that actually happening, right? Where we're losing. Oh geez, I meant to say 30 and 70. Did I do the math entirely wrong here? 6 and 4, or did I just write this wrong? No, I think I just wrote this wrong, right? So you know, if we the chances of us losing, for example, with flip a coin scenario, it would be equal to, like, losing once is equal to 1/2, right? It's equal to 1/2, right? But the chance of us losing twice in a row, so once is equal to 1/2. There's a 50-50 chance. So if you think of it that way, now losing twice in a row would be equal to 1/2 times 1/2, which is also equal to 1/4, right? So does that make sense? So the chances of you, the reason why we're doing this is because trading is also probability trading, right? 1/2 times 1/2, which is equal to 1/4, or which is equal to 1/2 to the power of 2, right? So this is the best notation to use, 1 to the 2 to the power of 2, right here. So that would be equal to 1 to the 4, right? So that would be equal to 0.2 there's a 25% chance to lose twice in a row. And now 3 times in a row would just be equal to 1 over to 2 to the power of 3, which is equal to 1 over 8, which is equal to half of 25%, which is equal to 12.5% chance, right? So the chances of you actually losing, this is in a row, by the way. We're assuming it be in a row, okay? So the chances of us losing even 3 in a row is also very slim, right? That's like 12.5% when we just use probability for 1 over 8. So the chance of us losing 3 times in a row for a simple heads and tails flip, yeah, it's like there's so many interesting theories for flip a coin scenarios, especially like the theory where you just keep doubling up and stuff, where you can eventually win your money back if you have a limited bankroll and stuff. But anyways, back to this one. This one's got a 2.75 risk to reward scenario. So just based on using risk calculations and just using like a casino example or roll the dice, whatever, it's a pretty good scenario. But you guys gotta remember once again that this is at a 23%, okay? 23%. So right now, I'm not gonna do anything yet. I'm gonna sit tight, right? And every time I say this, it doesn't mean I'm trading it. It's all hypothetical. I wanted to test this region one more time. That is where my comfort level would be better. I would like to get a very long wick, okay? A long hammer wick with even more volume than this that confirms an uptrend. Because right now, what we're seeing on a 4-hour chart, guys, what we're seeing is a shooting star. Every time we see a shooting star, what do we see? Every time we see a shooting star, what do we see? Here, people thought there was support, and then a shooting star, and then bam. Here, people thought there was support, and then shooting star, and then bam. But I do want to be clear, guys, that we are ticking positively. I know I might be bouncing like a yo-yo, but we have to evaluate all sides right now, okay? So is this a good risk to reward ratio to take? Yes, it's a pretty decent risk to reward, right? But we also have to factor in that that's a large percentage loss possible, okay? So I want to wait. I want to wait a little bit. I don't think I'm ready to buy yet. I want to wait to see if we can actually break into a more bullish zone, even on a 30-minute time frame, we'll say, okay? I want to see if it bounces off of this support line on the 15-minute, right there, 40. That's the magic number for 15. If we bounce off of the 15, you know, the 15 RSI around the 40 range, and we stay in the more bullish zone, and this holds right here, okay? This holds, whether it be a descending triangle or whether it be a wedge in there or something like that, okay? Either way, if it holds, right, this would be a really good risk to reward setup to take. But bear in mind, it might go a little bit lower, so I would definitely exercise caution and patience here. Always keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, guys. I'm just giving you guys a play-by-play. I say this a lot because I don't want to be held accountable for some bad decisions that people might make, right? I'm just one of the sources of many of information that you guys can get that can develop your own analysis, right? You want to always try to get your own analysis. So yeah, right now is in a critical zone that indicates support, but only temporary support because it is not on a high time frame yet, all right? And the daily has not leveled off yet at all. It's still rounding, right? But at least it's not parabolically going down. If it was parabolically going down, we'd be worried. So on the daily chart, after half an hour, what do we see? We see a doji that's forming. So that's a really, really good sign of support. It's been about an hour and a half since I started TA. I just do it in between here and there. So it's starting to really round off, and the 4 hours is the one that gives away that it's slowly going to the positive side. So yes, guys, my buy zone where I will show interest is basically under 5,000 Satoshi. I will say 475, okay? I will say here 475 because my average price, if you remember, was 4.8 anyways. So I will be interested in 4.75 around, and I will be interested in it going to right there around the 775 region. Under 475, very interested. Between the 5 and the 0.7 range, still, between the 0.45 and the 475 range, very interested, okay? And if we do bounce off of there, you guys can expect an uptrend because we're in dangerously oversold regions already. You might even be able to expect an uptrend based on all the different theories that we've introduced of bouncing off of this right here as well, okay? Where if this was wave 1, that's wave 2, that's wave 3, that's wave 4. So we have to complete this pattern first. before anything happens. But we do see this wick coming down here, but we do see the shooting star that's about to form as well. So this area is still in question, guys. This whole area right here is massively in question. We're talking about above 4. It is critical that we hold above 4. If we hold above 4, I will say, or even below the other one, or just 4 in general, we will see an uptrend, guys. We will see an uptrend to 775. So those are my thoughts for TRON TRX. I hope it has helped you guys in one way or another. I would really appreciate an upvote on Steemit, where you guys can create an account on there and follow my written blog version as well. And I'd also appreciate a like, a subscribe, a share as well. I hate saying this at the end, guys, but you know, I feel obligated to say it, right? It's like, okay, I want to help the crypto community, but I gotta get more followers and subscribers and stuff. So yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter and YouTube, etc. as well. And if you especially loved it and you've made a killing off of some of my analysis in the past, maybe you guys can buy myself and Luna a beer there. Luna's the dog at the beginning of the video. She's awesome. You guys can buy her and I a beer because she loves beer and tequila and vodka. So have a great day. Stay tuned until my next TA. I look forward to seeing you guys. Bye now.